नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट विष्णुपार शतरशतश्म श्री भक्तिवेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट विष्णुपार शतरशतश्म श्री भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय। Sorry, let's restart. नितिल प्रविष्ट विष्णुपार शतरशतश्म श्री भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट विष्णुपार शतरशतश्म श्री भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट विष्णुपाद अशतरशतश्म श्री भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट महाभागवत बाबा जी महाराज की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबा जी महाराज की जय। श्री रूप गौरी गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शार गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंद ऋषि गौर प्रसाद वृंद की जय। नाम अक्षय रस ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदाति गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय। श्री मुन देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाय की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय राधिकाय प्रियात्मने श्रीमद्भक्तिवेदान्त नारायणीति नामिने। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनेति नामिने। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतिशे नमः। गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकायै तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तरभक्ताय नमो नमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तम् अनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुस्तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतं स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन हृदन्तस्थो ह्यभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतम्। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भागवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। तवैवास्मि न जीवामि त्वया विना इति विज्ञाय राधे त्वां नायमां चरणान्तिकम्। भज भक्त्या विहीना अपराधलक्षय क्षिप्ताष्टकामादितरङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि त्वं शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम्। भज श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरि गौर भक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so done. Wait 1 second. Let me see who's all there. Dandavat Pranams Gargaraj ji, Ganga Didi, Rup Manjari Didi, Raseshwari Mataji, Madhavi Didi, Prajumna Prabhu, and Mantra Murti Mataji. Yes, Mantra Murti Mataji, I am okay now. I am better. I'm just getting my strength back. But as far as my health, yeah, I'm just like space, a bit spacey and dizzy kind of. But I think my body, I think I'm fully better now. I think I just need to start eating more and, yeah, regaining my health. Thanks for asking, though. All right, so I'm not going to go through this whole thing of recap of chapter 12 and 13 and 14 because it's very long. But yeah, so we heard, we just went over Jad Bharat's the allegorical story of a merchant who entered a forest, who represents a conditioned soul who enters the material world, and he was tormented by owls, plunders, ghosts, and so on, which refers to selfish family, society, and so on. And then Shukadeva Goswami explained this whole allegorical story in detail. And so we finished that yesterday. And also, there's a note here. These descriptions are not allegorical. Instead, the direct meaning is given in both chapters with slight differences. So it's not fully allegorical. I guess partly, but not fully. Okay. Then, Jad Bharat concludes his instructions and Rahugana expresses his gratitude. So, Jad Bharat says to Rahugana, Rahugana, you are also a victim of the external energy, like the merchant described in chapter 13. You should become an equal friend to all living entities. You should give up your kingly position and the rod of punishment. You should give up your attraction for sentient objects. You should take up the sword of knowledge sharpened by devotional service. Thus you'll cross material existence. Then Rahugana expresses his gratitude. Birth as a human being is the best of... Wait, am I too far back? No, I'm not. Okay. Sorry. Okay, birth as a human being is the best of all. What is the use of any other birth? What is the use of any other birth where there is no abundant association of great devotees whose whole existence is for the glorification of the Lord? Link, you mentioned about abundant association. Does that mean a little association is useless? It is not astonishing that simply by the dust of your lotus feet, all my sins have been destroyed, and I have attained pure bhakti to Lord Adhoksaj. By associating with you for just a moment, I am now freed from all argument, false prestige, and lack of discrimination, which are the roots of entanglement in this world. I think these were from chapter 13. Anyways, doesn't matter. I offer my respects to the great devotees who appear as babies, youths, young boys, and Brahmins, though hidden under different guises. By their mercy, may there be good fortune in the royal dynasties. Then Jad Bharat was a Paramahansa. So then Jad Bharat and Rahugana go their separate ways. Jad Bharat was a Paramahamsa. Therefore, although Rahugana insulted him, he mercifully instructed Rahugana on the science of the soul. He forgot the insult because Rahugana pitifully begged pardon at his lotus feet. Then he began to wander all over the earth. Rahugana understood the constitutional position of the soul from Jad Bharat, and thus gave up his bodily conception. Such is the result of taking shelter of the servant of the Lord. Bhagavat Ashrita Ashrita Anubhava. Then Parikshit requests Shukadeva Goswami to give the direct meaning of the allegory. And so he says, please explain. You have described the position of the conditioned soul who is compared to a merchant in the forest. Intelligent man can understand its purport, but inexperienced cannot. Therefore, I request you to give its direct meaning. And then that's what we read. Now, Shukadeva Goswami explained the allegory in chapter 14, which we just read. And then at the very end of that, flies cannot follow the path of Garuda. Similarly, great kings cannot follow the path of Bharat, even mentally. Bharat was fond of the Lord. In the prime of his life, he gave up his wife, children, friends, and empire as if they were stool, although such things are very difficult to give up. Link. In joy, the same meaning is repeated to make it clear. Even liberation becomes insignificant for devotees. Land, sons, relatives, riches, and a wife are very difficult to give up. Bharat Maharaja's wealth was desired even by demigods, and cast glances asking to be engaged in his service. Whoa. But the king did not desire them. This was befitting a great personality like him, for even liberation is considered insignificant for those whose minds are attracted to the loving service of the Lord. Bharat uttered this prayer while giving up the body of a deer. So this is his prayer as a deer. I offer respects to the Lord, who is sacrifice personified, the giver of the results of ritualistic activities, the protector of religious systems, the personification of mystic yoga, the source of all knowledge, the controller of the entire creation, Narayan, Hari. And here's the Falashruti, the results for hearing this whole story of Jada Bharat. If one submissively hears and chants about saintly Bharat, whose glories are worshipped by the devotees, one attains auspiciousness, long life, wealth, fame, heaven, liberation, and all desirable things without depending on anything or anyone else. So that's what we read yesterday. And today we're going to be reading about the glories of the descendants of Priyavrata. So we're going to read about King Sumati, then King Paritha, then King Gaya, his qualities, rule, devotion, activities, and descendants, and then King Viraja, and that's it. We'll finish this chapter today. It's very short. Today's going to be a short reading. Even though I'm starting how late? Oh my God, I'm in 20 minutes. But we'll still finish early, I think. Okay. So I'll start now. 1 second. In this chapter, the descendants of Bharat Maharaj and many other kings are described. The son of Maharaj Bharat was named Sumati. He followed the path of liberation given by Rishabhdev. Some people mistakenly thought Sumati to be the direct incarnation of Lord Buddha. The son of Sumati was Devatajit, and his son was Devadumna. Devadumna's son was Parameshti, and his son was Pratiha. Pratiha was a very great devotee of Lord Vishnu, and he had 3 sons, named Pratihartha, Prastota, and Udgata. Pratihartha had 2 sons, Aja and Bhuma. The son of Bhuma was Udgita, and the son of Udgita was Prastava. The son of Prastava was Vibhu, and the son of Vibhu was Pritushena, whose son was Nakta. The wife of Nakta, Druti, gave birth to Gaya, who was very famous and a saintly king. Actually, King Gaya was a partial incarnation of Lord Vishnu, and because of his great devotion to Lord Vishnu, he received the title Mahapurush. King Gaya had sons named Chitraratha, Sumati, and Avarodhana. The son Chitraratra was the emperor Samrat, and his son was Marichi, whose son was Bindu. Bindu's son was Madhu, and Madhu's son was Viryavrata. Viryavrata's 2 sons were Mantu and Pramantu, and the son of Mantu was Bhovana. The son of Bhovana was Twashta, and the son of Twashta was Viraja, who glorified the whole dynasty. Viraja had 100 sons and 1 daughter. Of these, the son named Shatajit became very famous. All right, so we're just going to be hearing a lot of family tables today. Whatever. Shishuka Uvacha. My eyes are starting to hurt. Let me just put on my computer glasses. Shishuka Uvacha. Bharatasya Tmaja Sumitir Nama Bhito Yam Uhavava again. What does that mean again? Indeed. Okay. Kechit Pakandina Rishabha Padavim Anuvartamanam Chanarya Aveda Samanatam Devatam Swamanishaya Papiyasya Kalo Kalpayishyanti. Srila Shukadev Goswami continued, the son of Maharaj Bharat, known as Sumati, followed the path of Rishabdev. But some unscrupulous people imagined him to be Lord Buddha himself. These people, who were actually atheistic and of bad character, took up the Vedic principles in an imaginary, infamous way to support their activities. Thus, these simple people accepted Sumati as Lord Buddhadev and propagated the theory that everyone should follow the principles of Sumati. In this way, they were carried away by mental concoction. Purport. Those who are Aryans strictly follow the Vedic principles, but in this age of Kali, a community has sprung up known as the Arya Samaj, which is ignorant of the import of the Vedas in the Parampara system. Their leaders decry all bona fide acharyas, and they pose themselves as the real followers of the Vedic principles. These acharyas who do not follow the Vedic principles are presently known as Arya Samajas, or the Jains. Not only do they not follow the Vedic principles, but they have no relationship with Lord Buddha. Imitating the behavior of Sumati, they claim to be the descendants of Rishabdev. Those who are Vaishnavas carefully avoid their company because they are ignorant of the path of the Vedas. In Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Krishna says, Vedaishta sarvar aham eva vedya. The real purpose of the Vedas is to understand me. This is the injunction of all Vedic literatures. One who does not know the greatness of Lord Krishna cannot be accepted as an Aryan. Lord Buddha, an incarnation of Lord Krishna, adopted a regular means to propagate the philosophy of Bhagavad Dharma. He preached almost exclusively among atheists. Atheists do not want any God, and Lord Buddha therefore said that there is no God, but he adopted the means to instruct his followers for their benefit. Therefore, he preached in a duplicitous way, saying that there is no God. Nonetheless, he himself was an incarnation of God. Tasmad Vridasenadnya. I'm having a hard time reading Sanskrit today. Tasmad Vradasenayam Devatajin Nama Putra Bhavat. From Sumati, a son named Devajit was born by the womb of his wife named Vridasena. Let's just look at this table really quickly and get the main ones. So these first three verses, King Sumati, then King Parita. Okay, so from Sumati, a son named Devajit. Ata Suryam Tato Tanayo Devadyumnas Tato Dhena Matyam Sutta Parameshti Tasya Suvarchalayam Pratiha Upajata. Thereafter, in the womb of Asuri, the wife of Devatajit, a son named Devadumna was begotten. Devadumna begot in the womb of his wife, Dhenumati, a son named Parameshti. Parameshti begot a son named Pratiha in the womb of his wife, Suvarchala. So now we're going to be reading about Pratiha. Ya Atma Vedyam Akhya Swayam Sangshudo Mahapurusham Anusasmara. King Pratiha personally propagated the principles of self-realization. In this way, not only was he purified, but he became a great devotee of the Supreme Person, Lord Vishnu, and directly realized him. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The word anusasmara is very significant. God consciousness is not imaginary or concocted. The devotee who is pure and advanced realizes God as he is. Maharaj Pratiha did so, and due to his direct realization of Lord Vishnu, he propagated self-realization and became a preacher. A real preacher cannot be bogus. He must first of all realize Lord Vishnu as he is. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 4.34, Upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. One who has seen the truth can impart knowledge. The word tattvadarshi refers to one who has perfectly realized the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a person can become a guru and propound Vaishnava philosophy all over the world. The paragon of bona fide preachers and guru is King Pratiha. Pratihat Suvarchalayam Pratihartrayastraya asan Ijako vida Sunava Pratihartu Stutyam Aja Bhumanav Ajanishatam. In the womb of his wife Suvarchala, Pratiha begot 3 sons, named Pratiharta, Prastota, and Udgata. These 3 sons were very expert in performing Vedic rituals. Pratiharta begot 2 sons, named Aja and Bhuma, in the womb of his wife named Stuti. Bhumna Rishi Kulyayam Udgitas Tata Prastavo Devakulyayam Prastavan Niyutsayam Hridyaja Asid Vibhur Vibho Ratyam Cha Pritushenas Tasman Nakta Akutyam Jagye Nakta Druta Putro Gayo Rajarshi Pravara Udara Shrava Ajayata Shakshar Bhagavato Vishnur Jagad Rirakshikshaya Grihita Satvasya Kalatmavatvadi Lakshanena Mahapurushutam Prapta. In the womb of his wife, Rishi Kulya, King Bhuma begot a son named Udgita. From Udgita's wife, Devakulya, a son named Prastava was born, and Prastava begot a son named Vibhu through his wife, Niyutsa. In the womb of his wife, Rati, Vibhu begot a son named Pritushena. Pritushena begot a son named Nakta in the womb of his wife, named Akuti. Nakta's wife was Druti, and from her womb the great king Gaya was born. Gaya was very famous and pious. He was the best of saintly kings. Lord Vishnu and his expansions, who are meant to protect the universe, are always situated in the transcendental mode of goodness known as Vishuddha Sattva. Being the direct expansion of Lord Vishnu, King Gaya was also situated in the Vishuddha Sattva. Because of this, Maharaj Gaya was fully equipped with transcendental knowledge. Therefore, he was called Mahapurush. Purport. From this verse it appears that the incarnations of God are various. Some are part and parcel of direct expansions, and some are direct expansions of Lord Vishnu. A direct incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is called Anksha or Swangsha, whereas an incarnation from Anksha is called Kala. Among Kalas, there are Vibhunangsha Jivas, or living entities. These are counted among the Jiva Tattvas. Those who come directly from Lord Vishnu are called Vishnu Tattva, and are sometimes designated as Mahapurush. Another name for Krishna is Mahapurush, and a devotee is sometimes also called Mahapurushika. Also, the pure devotees are called Mahapurush. Savai Swadharmena Praja Palana Poshana Prinanopalalananushasana Shasana Lakshanenejyatina Cha Bhagavati Mahapurushe Paravare Brahmani Sarvatmanarpita Paramartha Lakshnena Brahmavich Charananusevya Padita Bhagavad Bhakti Yogena Chabikshnasha Paribhavitati Shuddhamatir Uparatanatmya Atmani Swayam Upalabhyamana Brahmanatmanubhavopi Nirabhimana Evavanim Ajugupat. King Gaya gave full protection and security to the citizens so that their personal property would not be disturbed by undesirable elements. He also saw that there was sufficient food to feed the citizens. This is called poshana. He would sometimes distribute gifts to the citizens to satisfy them. This is called prinana. He would sometimes call meetings and satisfy the citizens with sweet words. This is called upalalana. He would also give them good instructions on how to become first-class citizens. This is called anushasana. Such were the characteristics of King Gaya's royal order. Besides all this, King Gaya was a householder who strictly observed the rules and regulations of household life. He performed sacrifices and was an unalloyed pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was called Mahapurush because as a king, he gave the citizens all facilities, and as a householder, he executed all his duties so that at the end, he became a strict devotee of the Supreme Lord. As a devotee, he was always ready to give respect to other devotees and to engage in the devotional service of the Lord. This is the Bhakti Yoga process. Due to all these transcendental activities, King Gaya was always free from the bodily conception. He was full in Brahman realization, and consequently, he was always jubilant. He did not experience material lamentation. Although he was perfect in all respects, he was not proud, nor was he anxious to rule the kingdom. Purport. As Lord Krishna states in Bhagavad Gita, when he descends on earth, he has two types of business: to give protection to the faithful and annihilate the demons. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkritam. Since the king is the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is sometimes called Naradev, that is, the Lord as a human being. According to the Vedic injunctions, he is worshipped as God on the material platform. As a representative of the Supreme Lord, the king had the duty to protect the citizens in a perfect way so that they would not be anxious for food and protection, and so that they would be jubilant. The king would supply everything for their benefit, and because of this, he would levy taxes. If the king or government otherwise levies taxes on the citizens, he becomes responsible for the sinful activities of the citizens. And in Kali Yuga, monarchy is abolished because the kings themselves are subjected to the influence of Kali Yuga. It is understood from the Ramayana that when Bibhishan became friends with Lord Ramachandra, he promised that if by chance or will he broke the laws of friendship with Lord Ramachandra, he would become a Brahmin or a king in Kali Yuga. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So in this age, as Bibhishan indicated, both Brahmins and kings are in a wretched condition. Actually, there are no kings or Brahmins in this age, and due to their absence, the whole world is in a chaotic condition and is always in distress. Compared to present standards, Maharaj Gaya was a true representative of Lord Vishnu. Therefore, he was known as Mahapurush. Tasyeman gatam pandaveya puravida upagayanti. My dear King Parikshit, those who are learned scholars in the histories of the Puranas eulogize and glorify King Gaya with the following verses. But the historical references to exalted kings serve as a good example for present rulers. Those who are ruling the world at the present moment should take lessons from King Gaya, King Yudhishthir, and King Prithu, and rule the citizens so that they will be happy. Presently, the governments are levying taxes without improving the citizens in any cultural, religious, social, or political way. According to the Vedas, this is not recommended. Okay, so here's the learned scholar's glorification of King Gaya. Gayam nripa ka pratiyati karmabir yajvabhimani bahuvid dharma gupta samagata shri sadasaspati satam satsevakonyo bhagavad kalamrite. The great King Gaya used to perform all kinds of Vedic rituals. He was highly intelligent and expert in studying all the Vedic literatures. He maintained the religious principles and possessed all kinds of opulence. He was a leader among gentlemen and a servant of the devotees. He was a totally qualified plenary expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, who could equal him in the performance of gigantic ritualistic ceremonies? Yam abhyashinchan paraya muda sati satyashisho daksha kanya saridbhi yasya prajanam duduhe dharashisho nirashisho guna vatsal snutodha. All the chaste and honest daughters of Maharaj Daksha, such as Shraddha, Maitri, and Daya, whose blessings were always effective, bathed Maharaj Gaya with sanctified water. Indeed, they were very satisfied with Maharaj Gaya. The planet Earth personified came as a cow, and as though she saw her calf, she delivered milk profusely when she saw all the good qualities of Maharaj Gaya. In other words, Maharaj Gaya was able to derive all benefits from the earth, and thus satisfy the desires of his citizens. However, he personally had no desire. Purport. The earth over which Maharaj Gaya ruled is compared to a cow. The good qualities whereby he maintained and ruled the citizens are compared to the calf. A cow delivers milk in the presence of her calf. Similarly, the cow, or earth, fulfilled the desires of Maharaj Gaya, who was able to utilize all the resources of the earth to the benefit of his citizens. This was possible because he was bathed in sanctified water by the honest daughters of Daksha. Unless a king or ruler is blessed by authorities, he cannot rule the citizens very satisfactorily. Through the good qualities of the ruler, the citizens become very happy and well qualified. Chandangsya kamasya chayasya kaman tudohurajahrur ato balim nripa pratyanchita yudhi tarmena vipraya dashisham shashtam angsham paritya. Although King Gaya had no personal desire for sense gratification, all his desires were fulfilled by virtue of his performance of Vedic rituals. All the kings with whom Maharaj Gaya had to fight were forced to fight on religious principles. They were very satisfied with his fighting, and they would present all kinds of gifts to him. Similarly, all the Brahmins in his kingdom were very satisfied with King Gaya's munificent charities. Consequently, the Brahmins contributed a sixth of their pious activities for King Gaya's benefit in the next life. Purport. As a Kshatriya or emperor, Maharaj Gaya sometimes had to fight with subordinate kings to maintain his government, but the subordinate kings were not dissatisfied with him because they knew that he fought for religious principles. Consequently, they accepted their subordination and offered all kinds of gifts to him. Similarly, the Brahmins who performed Vedic rituals were so satisfied with the king that they very readily agreed to part with a sixth of their pious activities for his benefit in the next life. Thus, the Brahmins and Kshatriyas were all satisfied with Maharaj Gaya because of his proper administration. In other words, Maharaj Gaya satisfied the Kshatriya kings by his fighting and satisfied the Brahmins by his charities. The Vaishyas were also encouraged by kind words and affectionate dealings, and due to Maharaj Gaya's constant sacrifices, the Shudras were satisfied by sumptuous food and charity. In this way, Maharaj Gaya kept all the citizens very satisfied. When the Brahmins and saintly persons are honored, they part with their pious activities, giving them to those who honor them and render them service. Therefore, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 4:34, Tadaviri pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. One should try to approach a spiritual master submissively and render service unto him. Anyways. Okay. Yasadvare Bhagavan Advaratma Maghoni Madhyata Uru. God, I'm having a hard time reading also. Maghoni Madhyaturu Somapite Shada Vishuddha Chala Bhakti Yoga Samarpite Jya Palama Jahara. In Maharaj Gaya's sacrifices, there was a great supply of the intoxicant known as soma. King Indra used to come and become intoxicated by drinking large quantities of soma ras. Also, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, the Yagya Purush, also came and personally accepted all the sacrifices offered unto him, Vishnu accepted all the sacrifices offered unto him with pure and firm devotion in the sacrificial arena. Maharaj Gaya was so perfect that he satisfied all the demigods, who were headed by the heavenly king Indra. Lord Vishnu himself also personally came to the sacrificial arena to accept the offerings. Although Maharaj Gaya did not want them, he received all the blessings of the demigods and of the Supreme Lord himself. We're in the last 3 verses now. Yat prinanar barhishi devatiryan manushya virud trinama virinchat priyeta sadhya saha vishvajiva prita swayam pritemagargayasya. When the Supreme Lord is pleased by a person's actions, automatically all the demigods, human beings, animals, birds, bees, creepers, trees, grass, and all other living entities, beginning with Lord Brahma, are pleased. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the supersoul of everyone, and he is by nature fully pleased. Nonetheless, he came to the arena of Maharaj Gaya and said, I am fully pleased. Purport. It is explicitly stated herein that simply by satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one satisfies the demigods and all other living entities without differentiation. If one pours water onto the root of the tree, all the branches, twigs, flowers, and leaves are nourished. Although the Supreme Lord is self-satisfied, he was so pleased with the behavior of Maharaj Gaya that he personally came to the sacrificial arena and said, I am fully satisfied. Who can compare to Maharaj Gaya? And these are the last 2 verses. Gayar gayantyam chitraratha sugatir avarodhana iti traya putra babhuvush chitrarathar urnayam samrad ajanishta tata utkalayam Marichir Bindu Matyam Bindum Anudapadyata Tasmat Saraghayam Madhur Nama Bhavan Madhu Samanasi Viravratas Tato Bhojayam Mantu Paramantu Jagyate Manto Satyayam Bhovanastato Dushanayam Tvashtajanishta Tvashturvirochanayam Virajo Virajasya Shachajit Pravaram Putra Shatam Kanya Chavishuchyam Kila Jatam. In the womb of Gayanti, Maharaj Gaya begot 3 sons, named Chitrarata, Sugati, and Avarodhana. In the womb of his wife Urna, Chitrarata begot a son named Samrat. The wife of Samrat was Utkala. In her womb, Samrat begot a son named Marichi. In the womb of his wife Bindumati, Marichi begot a son named Bindu. In the womb of his wife Saraga, Bindu begot a son named Madhu. In the womb of his wife, named Sumana, Madhu begot a son named Viravrata. In the womb of his wife, Bhoja, Viravrata begot 2 sons named Mantu and Pramantu. In the womb of his wife Satya, Mantu begot a son named Bhovana. And in the womb of his wife Dushana, Bhovana begot a son named Tvashta. In the womb of his wife Virochana, Tvashta begot a son named Viraja. The wife of Viraja was Vishuchi, and in her womb Viraja begot 100 sons and 1 daughter. Of all of these sons, the son named Shachajit was prominent. There's 16 verses. Okay. Tatrayam shloka. Priyavrata vangsham imam virajas charamodbhava akarod atyalam kirtya vishnu sura ganam yata. There is a famous verse about King Viraja.
Because of his high qualities and wide fame, King Viraja became the jewel of the dynasty of King Priyavrata, just as Lord Vishnu, by his transcendental potency, decorates and blesses the demigods. Purport. Within a garden, a flowering tree attains a good reputation because of its fragrant flowers. Similarly, if there is a famous man in a family, he is compared to a fragrant flower in a forest. Because of him, an entire family can become famous in history. Because Lord Krishna took birth in the Yadu dynasty and the Yadavas have remained famous for all time. Because of King Viraja's appearance, the family of Maharaj Priyavrata has remained famous for all time. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 5th canto, 15th chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the glories of the descendants of King Priyavrata. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju ki Jai Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Srila Gurudev ki Jai Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmad Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj ki Jai Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatara Shatashmad Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatara Shatashmad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatara Shatashmad Srila Bhakti Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatara Shatashmad Srila Bhakti Vigyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatara Shatashmad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitil Pravishta Mahabhagavat Srila Gokshara Swavaji Maharaj ki Jai. Nitil Pravishta Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki Jai. Nitil Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga ki Jai. Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhattadas Raghunath Shar Gosai Prabhu ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramananda Rishi Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki Jai. नाम अचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जाए प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जाए श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जाए सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदत्त गिरिराज महाराज की जाए श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जाए श्री मन देवी गंगा देवी की जाए श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय श्री भक्ति देवी की जय श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाया की जय श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बो वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवाशजा कृष्ण भक्ति प्रद देवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः वंश कल्पतरुभ्यश्च Kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Dandavat pranams. So, tomorrow we finally begin. We all know how excited Pradyumna Prabhu is for this. We all begin description of the whole cosmic system, this whole universe. See you all tomorrow. Pradyumna Prabhu, can you do Bhakti Shastri? Yeah, why not? Just one thing, always remember what we read from Srila Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, also what we read from Srila Prabhupada about academic learning. We're not so much interested in gaining academic knowledge. And so it's all about study away, and become, but we have to do it in the proper mood, not of becoming gyanis and acquiring a bunch of knowledge. And yes, I know everything now, but doing it in a mood of service and dedication and surrender. And having honor and not understanding that you can't know these things with your brain, but that they can only be revealed to you through having that kind of proper mood of humility and surrender. Okay. Rup Manjri already answered the question about Gaia. All right, Dandavat Pranams, Haribol.